Welcome back. Commentary for you. I watched the chat, entire premiere, all 4.5 minutes for a deep dive. Regardless, there's a lot of people right now concerned about the direction of this game. And you can sit here and you can say I'm being negative, or you can sit here and say I'm being honest with you. It's your call. Some of you want this game to be better than it is. You've wanted this game to be better than it was ever going to be. And we're starting to see that come to the surface. All right, first and foremost, Real Coach's actual playbooks, 2,800 new plays and formations. No one, absolutely no one is going to speak poorly about this. It's a great thing. But here's what I will offer to you. It is the easiest thing for EA to do. Putting in new plays literally takes next to no time. This reminds me of when Madden put the Wildcat in. The issue was not putting the actual play in, right? Drawing out the play art, having the players on offense execute the play. The issue was how the defense reacted to it. The zone logic, the man coverage logic, that being broken is what impacted the game, because of these 2,800 plays, are you seriously testing every single one extensively to make sure that there isn't a, quote, money play? That's my concern. This right here, very simple to do. We've seen independent games like Maximum Access completely revamp playbooks. It's not that big of a deal. It's the thing that was led with here. Also, maybe some concerns that we're pulling a little too much Madden into college football, because archetypes have came over, 84 player abilities. And again, my fear, the chat fear, is this is slowly becoming college Madden. To me, this game needed its own identity, okay? And it seemed like they were building off that. They were going to have the presentation, the atmosphere. The fact that they didn't more, and we're going to get to the presentation atmosphere in just a moment, is more troubling. So to that point, they talk about this attribute boosting. And I want to highlight two plays here. In this play, you are going to see this halfback right here. And he is going to encounter double team. Okay, so you have two of the largest defensive players. And I understand, right, this can happen, because somebody's going to tell me, oh, you don't understand. In 1947, the Pee Wee Football Championship, go back and look this happen. What I'm saying is it's very uncommon. And they are showing this to you under the mindset of this is Heisman tier for a player, and this player will be able to take over the game. Okay, this to me is animation dependency, right? We're going to talk about tackles in a moment, but this shows me right here, animation dependency, dice roll animations are meaning way too much. I also want to show you this play to have the other side of it, right? We've got this play, okay, and you're going to notice this lineman, we're going to call him Clint, okay? Clint is going to miss his assignment and then essentially be trucked by his own halfback. Again, can it happen? Does it happen? Did the butt fumble with Mark Sanchez happen? Yes. But this is just a bit strange in your trailer. Now, they have tried to create some limitations again. Okay? We're going to talk about this quarterback passing system. Okay? They're trying to create a world where shorter quarterbacks aren't going to have the same abilities as a taller quarterback. Okay, so what they've elected to do is make it where you can't see the passing icons until the receivers get further down the field. Personally, say whatever you want about my criticism of this game. I've never understood this. Because essentially what you're saying is gamers don't know passing icons and we can't memorize them before the play. We don't look at it and say, well, there's my X receiver, there's my A receiver, whatever the case may be. Now, maybe the better way of doing this, and perhaps how it's done, is limiting the time until we can pass to those players. That might be a better concept, but I say that knowing that is very unfair to the gamer, because generally speaking, the AI does not deal with it the same way. The AI can throw whenever they want. They don't have this delay. They're not visually looking downfield. I would offer to you that if the issue is shorter quarterbacks, the response has and always will be batted passes at the line, right? And that should be something that naturally happens within your game. If you have passing trajectories in your game from the quarterback's arm proper, and you have linemen properly able to read and jump to bat down passes, this is something that will take care of itself. That makes me wonder if, as usual with EA Sports, you don't have passing trajectories proper in the game, and we have to find a way to finagle an issue for shorter quarterbacks to have to try to replicate what they perceive as realism because the game isn't doing what it should naturally. And I will say, during this, a lot of people in the chat saying this wasn't good enough. There was a lot of L's. There was a lot of copy and paste comments. And yes, there's always people, you're going to be in this video seeing them. Oh, it's just a football game. Oh, just be glad we have college football. Oh, you should just be proud to give EA your money and get something in return. There's third world countries that don't have football games. The reality is most people have told EA meaningful changes need to be made. Meaningful changes. If you're going to sell us a new product, then give us something worth buying. And this year, we started to get a lot of that good old EA speech. So I'm going to read to you a quote from this trailer. 4-minute trailer again. Deep dive. Understand. We reviewed wear and tear and adjusted it. For years I've gotten on EA. General stability improvements. What does that mean? If you're doing a deep dive, why aren't you focused on real changes? If you can't tell me what's changed, right? If you can't say anything other than we reviewed it, then why is it even in this trailer? This trailer is supposed to be the deep dive. This brings us to the auto subs, which again, carried over from Madden. That's fine. It's part of football. But the real question is, will it have the same issues as Madden? Now, interestingly enough, they start to talk about weather, and it looks like the weather from Madden, this all-new washing of the screen they've done, did not carry over to NCAA, despite the fact that NCAA is sitting here making claims of real-world conditions and weather modifiers. So now you have both games saying, oh, we're giving you the most realistic, we're giving you real-world conditions, but vastly different visual experiences. This is the problem when you have the same company making kind of competing games. And of course, with every EA game, we must talk about physics. And I'm going to read this quote to you, okay? Better tackles actually feel better. That's a quote from this trailer. What on earth does that mean? What on earth does that mean? A better tackle in the game is going to, as a user, make you feel better when you see the animation? Because again, if we go back to physics-based tackles, you shouldn't be worried about wrap-up tackles. You shouldn't be worried about skill-based timing tackles, right? All of that comes out in the wash when you talk about having a player replicated on the field, right? No one ever missed a tackle in any football game and came back and said, oh, I didn't have the wrap-up tackle button. Oh, my skill-based timing was off. You're trying to force simulation football into compartments because the game isn't functioning as intended. And towards the end, we get classic EA. They label the wear and tear improvements, the player injury update, as a new world of dynamic substitutions and how it's going to put this massive wrinkle into the game. How we can sub players in and out with a single button. And I'm not going to say that's a bad thing. But you're basically taking an improvement and then you're telling me that it created this whole new environment. It's honestly just substitutions. They've been in football forever. Doing it with a single button changes the user interface and makes it easier. Now, I will say, they talk about this block steering, and it's perhaps what I'm most interested in, most excited about, because it's odd. It's odd. This is the play that they show where one lineman is kind of pulling hard than nearly all the others, and almost in a different direction if you look at their body positions. But this reminds me, if you go back to Madden, lead block control. The problem is, this true change in the game, in the deep dive, we just don't understand enough. We don't see enough. Instead, they go into line stunts and twists, 12 of them carried over from Madden. Adjustable zones carried over from Madden. And the reality is, it's fine to carry things over from Madden. It just has to function, right? And Madden's logic has been broken. So this is what I've said for the longest time. You've got the EA team working on this game at Madden for years, right? And they haven't been able to fix things. So now you're expecting this NCAA team to be able to take these same broken concepts and gameplay implementations, put them in and somehow fix them? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. It's honestly like saying, well, this car manufacturer, they're making the cars at the factory and there's this problem, but don't worry, the dealership is going to get the car, they're going to fix all the problems. You want the problems fixed before it gets to this point. That's why Madden has been so stagnant. And then at the end, we get traditional EA rhetoric. And this is, again, where the community, you can see it. Okay? The hype, the love, the oh my God, it's back is wearing off because we're getting the normal EA stance of what do we do for Stadium Pulse? This is going to be a direct quote. We made it louder, tougher, and more personal. And they did this with, and again, this is their words, more intense camera shake. More intense camera shake. That's your improvement from one year to the next, is the camera is going to shake more. That is a very simple thing to do. Visual disruptions when kicking, and perhaps one of the strangest things I've ever seen a football game do, blur the play clock. Blur the play clock. So as a user, you're going to replicate a tough environment for me to play in by making the play clock unreadable. Are you going to do that on both the stadium clock and the clock that's on the ticker? Because that seems like it would be very difficult to do in terms of a coding perspective, because now you're changing an element within the game, not just a ticker on the screen. But I guess all of that remains to be seen. I, though, would love to know your thoughts on this. Appreciate each and every one of you watching. And when EA can put up a trailer and I can still get something out that talks about all of these issues in less than an hour, there's no way that I cannot be back in the week with more commentary.